I don't see you, but I can see that you are here with us. And let's see when we're going to go live here. I don't. Okay, let us rock and roll. So, welcome everyone to our holistic cleansing workshop. I'm glad to see that everyone is here with me today because, health is such a crucial aspect of wellness and disease prevention. When our bodies are functioning optimally, we feel better, we think more clearly, we have more energy, we look better. Today, we're going to address why you would want to detox and cleanse, and there's a difference between the two, and how to do so safely, the foods that can contribute to toxic buildup in your body. And I'm going to invite you, if you'd like, to consider joining us on a transformation journey. Toxicity is often the root of many, many health issues, many evils, but most of us have no idea of what lies beneath the surface. Whether it is the foods that we eat, we were just talking together before we got started about the TV programs and the news programs that we look at, maybe the music that we're listening to, the beauty products that we use, the cleaning products in our homes, and the people that we surround ourselves with, the thoughts that we choose to entertain. All of these things can create toxicity in our body, minds, heart, and spirit. And we're exposed to an overwhelming level of toxicity coming at us from so many different directions, many of which we don't even recognize. So that is where we are going to be starting. We're going to be talking about this together. And I am so appreciative of the fact that you are joining me today. I believe that the fact that you are here is because you decided to be courageous. The reality is that many are called. In fact, I truly believe that God calls all of us, but few of us choose to respond. So, I would like to have a little bit of information from you because this is participatory. This is not just Michelle, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of boring, and I am not into that kind of stuff. And I want to prove to you that I'm not a bot. So I would love for you to answer my poll question. I would like to know, what is the handwriting on the lawn, on the wall? What are the things that are happening in your life right now that you may be dealing with that is telling you, I may want to deal with a cleanse? So I've just posted a poll, and you have different things that you consider. Maybe you're dealing with metabolic issues such as weight or blood pressure or blood glucose or digestion issues. Maybe you're going through a transition in your life. Maybe you're dealing with a situation with regards to your marriage, or maybe you have lost a loved one. Maybe you're dealing with changes in your job. Maybe you're dealing with certain spiritual issues, or maybe emotional issues, or career, or maybe you're dealing with a crisis type of issue like cancer, or maybe you're dealing with mental illness, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, all of those different things. Or maybe you're dealing with a chronic issue that may be like autoimmune or neurological. So tell me, what are some things that you are dealing with that have brought you to the conversation today? Okay. All righty. So I'll just wait one more minute for us to get everyone to be able to participate. And we have some more people joining us right now. So for those of you who are just joining us, we have a poll that we are taking to talk about, what is it that you are dealing with? What is the handwriting on the wall that said, man, I need to consider doing a cleanse? I need to learn a little bit more about cleansing, maybe for some of you. So for those of you who have just joined, I invite you to be part of our poll to let me know what are some issues that you're dealing with that have brought you here to the conversation today. And I'm saying conversation because I really mean conversation. I don't want it to just be Michelle, blah, 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 blahing. I want us to engage with each other. If you'd like to open up your mic and talk with me, if you'd like to share your video, whatever it is, I encourage you to join us. So the polls, I'm going to go ahead and end the polls. We have 75% of us are addressing emotional issues. That's part of why we're here. 50% of us are dealing with metabolic issues such as weight, blood pressure, blood glucose, digestion, that kind of stuff. And then we have 25% of us that are dealing with mental health issues. 25% of us are dealing with critical issues such as cancer. 25% of us are dealing with spiritual issues. So I'm sharing with you guys the poll results so that you can see you are not alone. Okay, that's the first thing I want you to know. We are here together. We are on this journey together. We're going to have fun together. And we're going to have, the more you guys participate, the more fun we're going to have. Okay, so again, this is not a Michelle thing. Do not make this a Michelle thing. Okay, we are going to get this train moving together. In any case, let me go ahead and first tell you a little bit medical disclaimer. We have to do this housekeeping. I know everybody here knows this, but just in case you didn't know, medical disclaimer. This is a one-on-one, a presentation for educational purposes. It is not intended to replace your relationship with your medical provider. It is intended for me to share with you my experience and my expertise in dealing with this particular area. And I encourage you to make your healthcare decisions pertaining to your participation based on your research, your spiritual journey, and in partnership with your healthcare team. So that's disclaimer number one. Now, second disclaimer, I need for you to know this. I am not an MD. I am not a medical deity. I am not a medical doctor. My doctorate and my specialty area is in the field of naturology. Naturology is an exclusive term that comes from the root word meaning nature, that which is lifelike, that which is not artificial. And the suffix ology, as you probably already know, is talking about a branch of study. Naturology is the study of nature as it applies to the health of humankind. And we know that each of nature's laws effectively influences humankind's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Naturology says that God created humans with certain dietary and environmental needs and place the fulfillment of those needs within our own grasp. So you have the power to heal you. In fact, that is my primary belief, that no doctor can cure you. So don't say Michelle is going to cure you, because Michelle can't do jack squat diddly, okay? What I can do is share with you the information that I have, share with you processes and strategies that I have proven not only with myself, with my guinea pig children, and with many, many people that I've worked with, right? But the real thing is that naturology holds that the source of our spiritual and emotional and mental and physical health comes from the divine, and that we all have access to being able to tap into that healing for ourselves. Now, why listen to this crazy chick, right? Why listen to me? Not because of the 50 million degrees that I have, not at all, but because I'm cleansing personally. I have been cleansing for the past 35 years. Since I was 17 years old, I've been cleansing. I've gone, you name a cleansing program, Michelle has probably done it, okay? Whether it be a water cleanse, of course, 50 million different variations of food cleanses, a liver cleanse, a kidney cleanse, a skin cleanse. I've done so many different cleansing programs, but more importantly, I have seen the phenomenal transformation, not only in my own life, but in the lives of my children. Yes, even with my kids, I used to do cleanses with them when they were younger. They can tell you stories of us doing cleanses as a family. And as it relates to you guys, I have seen the transformation in the people that I've worked with. I've seen people literally get up and walk after a cleanse, people who have been bedridden, people I've had parents bring their children, check their children out of the hospital and bring them to be with me. And we would go through different cleansing and healing modalities. I've had men and women come who have been um, incapable of walking from their car to my front door, and within a matter of a week, they were making laps around my 13-acre property. You know, so I know the tremendous power of cleansing. And for those of you who are more of a spiritual ilk, we know the power of cleansing, the power of fasting, as it is told in countless different spiritual traditions. I love studying different spiritual traditions, and all of the traditions that I have been exposed to all have some element of fasting in them. And so this is to tell you, this is a practice. Cleansing, detoxification, fasting is something that goes back for millennia. So it's not something that Michelle has concocted. It's not something that, the little health experts that want to come out with their 50 million papers have come up with. No, this is something that people, traditions across the world have been doing for millennia. So you know that you are in good hands. You are in divine hands. So now, before we go any further, what I would like to do, like I said, this is going to be interactive, right? So I want to ask you guys another poll. Okay. And let's see here. The next thing I want to find out from you guys is, what is your cleansing experience? Okay. I want to know, what is your cleansing experience? Are you a beginner, meaning that you have never done a cleanse before? Or are you an intermediate? You've dabbled, you've done a couple of kits, you've done a couple of short cleanses, maybe 1 to 2 days or something like that. Or are you advanced? Or you like hardcore cleanser? Like, yeah, I've done like 7-day cleanses and 30-day cleanses, and I do it all the time. Okay. Come on, you guys gotta participate. Everyone hasn't participated yet. Yes, I'm one of those teachers that sits there waiting for everybody to participate. Okay. Wow. Okay. So we have here that everyone has done cleanses before. Everybody's intermediate. So I'm sharing the results so you can see. Again, you are not alone, you guys. You are not alone. Isn't it good to know that you are not alone, right? So all of you have had some kind of experiences with cleansing. Okay, so now my last question for today in terms of doing a poll, okay, I want to know, how much excitement are you guys looking for? Okay, what type of presentation would you like for me to do? Because I am game for anything. All righty, let's see. I need to get this question up. Okay, why this poll has been launched in this meeting. Are you guys able to see this poll? No, not yet. How is it? Let's see. Okay. Hmm. It's saying that it's been launched, but I know it hasn't. So that's weird. Okay. So my last question. Okay. Would you like for me to do a webinar, meaning a PowerPoint presentation? Because yes, I do have a PowerPoint presentation. I have a 35 slide deck PowerPoint presentation. Or we can just make this interactive as a Q&A, okay? Or we can do both. So put into the chat, since I can't launch my poll, so I'm just going to have to go off of the poll, okay? Do you want me to do a webinar, B, Q&A, or C, both? Okay, I'm looking into the chat to see what you've got. All righty, so we've got one for PowerPoint. We got one for both. Okay, now come on. The rest of you, what would you like? This is like Burger King. Have it your way. Both. Okay, we've got both. Okay, so the both have it. Okay, all righty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip through the slides so that we can have Q&A. How does that sound with everybody? Is that okay? Okay, because since you guys are intermediate, I think that I don't have to take a lot of time to go over certain things that, you guys are pretty savvy, all righty? So now let's start first with what is a cleanse, okay? When I talk about a cleanse, I talk about a holistic cleanse. I believe that when we are talking about cleansing, we need to address not only the physical, but also the emotional and the mental spiritual. And when we talk about a cleanse, we talk about having something in your life, some aspect of you that is responding to the message. I know all of you know what I'm talking about, where there's something inside of you, that handwriting on the wall that says, I need to do this, right? And as I said, detoxification is becoming more and more popular, but very few people look at detoxification from a holistic perspective. So now when we talk about the physical, yes, we're going to be talking about things like your colon, your lung, your skin, your liver, your gallbladder, your kidney, your lymph, your spleen. I remember many years ago, a woman came to me and she said, "Yeah, Michelle, I'm going to do a cleanse." And she talked about doing, drinking a couple bottles of something. And I knew about the different health conditions that she was dealing with. And I went, and she was going to Atlanta to go and do this cleanse, spend thousands of dollars to go do this cleanse and drink all these bottles of potions or whatever. And I just looked at her. I was like, okay, then. I was like, if that's what you think a cleanse is about, but I can tell you, sister, you're going to need a little bit something more than that, right? But she did what she did. And then she came back later and said, "Hey, Michelle, I need to do what you told me to do." But that's another story. So even if we're talking about just physically speaking, it's not simply about doing a couple drinks or whatever, because you need to address all of the elimination pathways. And those elimination pathways are your colon, right? Your skin, your lungs. So you need to make sure that all of these pathways are open. A lot of times people will go through the process of detoxification. What I mean by detoxification is that they are releasing the toxins from where they are bound, hence the word detox. But keep in mind that there's a difference between detox and cleansing. Just because you're detox does not necessarily mean that you're cleansing. In fact, a lot of times the reason why people have problems when they go through these programs is because they're detoxing, but they're not cleansing. They're not leading it out. Let me give you an example. You decide you're going to go spring cleaning, right? And you start to go through your house and you're packing up all of the bags of stuff that you want to let go of, right? You're taking it out of your drawers, you're taking it out of the little boxes that you may have had it packed away with. And then you take those bags and you just put it in front of your door. Technically, you have detoxed. You have liberated those toxins, those obstructions from where they were. You packaged them up, right? But you just left them at your door. And so now you can't even get out your door. You're falling and tripping trying to get out of your own door. The thing is, you've got to open up the door and release those bags out of the door. And not only release them out the door, take them out to the trash can and have the trash people come and pick it up and take it away. See, a lot of times what happens is that we decouple the toxins from where they're located. And we may even get them almost to the point of getting out of the body, but then there's some obstruction and we take them back in. That happens a lot of times with hormones, for instance. A lot of times when people have issues with hormones imbalance, it's not necessarily that they have too little of a certain hormone, but rather that the hormone is imbalanced relative to another hormone. So people may have an excess of estrogen because their detoxification and their cleansing pathways are blocked. And so those hormones just recycle. If your colon is blocked, you may have the most fantastic kidney cleanse kit. You may be rocking it with your liver cleanse kit, but your colon is chock full of nuts and it is not passing through. And that's when people have these horrible reactions to cleanses where they feel like fatigued and sick and all that kind of good stuff. Well, not so good stuff. So now remember that the toxins that we're dealing with can come from a variety of different areas, not only from our foods, whether it be junk foods or denatured foods, but it can also come from our water sources. It can come from our thoughts. Maybe you're consumed with looping thoughts of, I'm crap. I'm never going to amount to nothing. I'm not going to make any money, blah, 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 blah. Nobody will ever love me. I'm stupid. All of these thoughts, these are toxic to the body, mind, heart, and spirit. Chemicals that are pervasive in our environment, allergic foods. If you have a quote unquote sensitivity to a food, then that food will become toxic to your body, mind, heart, and spirit. Emotions, things that you're holding on to. You're pissed off at some guy who left you 5 years ago, or you think that women are just the hellions of the earth, and you're holding on to anger or frustration or jealousy or grief. All of these things will create toxic responses in your body, mind, heart, and spirit. So now the thing is that we also need to look at being very honest with ourselves about all the stuff that is in our environment. Think about the stuff that you're spraying. Practically everywhere you go now, people are using these little, oh gosh, what are those little thingy majiggies that they plug in and whatnot, or, oh my Lord, you may walk into a bus or something like that, and someone has like tons of cologne and perfume that is just toxic, not only to the air, but also it's on their skin. So it's being absorbed into their bloodstream. 1 second. You may have interesting fur babies who bark while you're trying to do something. This is my little fur baby. Always has to be part of all of my presentations. Anyway, so thinking about fur babies that help us to deal with other toxins in our lives, like maybe there are toxic people in your lives that keep on being negative around you, or maybe they're bringing anger into your environment. They're bringing a sense of victimhood into your environment, right? Thinking about the foods that we eat. Sometimes, we're trying to eat healthy, but guess what? It's been sprayed with glyphosate, and now they have this new interesting mess called appeal that they're putting onto a lot of the fruits and vegetables to kind of like preserve it. It's like varnish, to make sure that they can have more life out of a fruit so that they don't have to lose money. So they'll put this kind of film onto our fruits and vegetables so that they don't rot quickly. Okay. So be careful when you start to purchase your foods, even if they are quote unquote organic. If you see that little sticker on there saying appeal, don't get it, And of course, you can look into things like what's called the dirty dozens and the clean 15s, because those are things that you are going to be able to use to discern, okay, most of us can't afford to buy everything organic, right? At least I'll just fess up and say I can't afford to buy everything organic. So I have to pick and choose, So if you've got to, look at your budget realistically, then go to the clean 15, and those things you don't necessarily have to get organic. But the dirty dozens, you definitely want to try and get those to be organic so that you avoid the load of pesticides. And so we want to pay attention to when we are feeling off, okay? That is what's going to let us know, yes, I may need to let go of certain things. Sometimes when you're feeling off, you have that abdominal pain. It may not necessarily just be about the foods that you're eating, you know? Sometimes you're getting that abdominal pain, that kind of twist in your stomach, because you're not able to absorb certain emotions. You're not able to absorb certain life events in your life, and it's just creating turmoil. Or it could be actual foods that you're consuming that you're not breaking down effectively. So you really want to look at that, because when we have foods inside our body, our physical bodies that are not being broken down properly, what happens is that they sit in the digestive tract and they ferment or putrefy, and they create toxic end products that further create inflammation in the gut, and then they start to also slow things down, right? And when they slow things down, all of those toxins remain in the pipes and they start to get reabsorbed into the bloodstream. So what may start as indigestion, malabsorption, food sensitivities, food reactions, and things of that nature can create a systemic problem in your body. Fatigue, a lot of times when people have chronic fatigue, it's because of this reason. You have to start looking at what's happening within the digestive tract. Is there a backing up of the toxins in the body? But in any case, our bodies are amazing, absolutely amazing. And the beauty is that we have the power to heal. We have the power to create healthy microbiota that can help to break things down, that can help in the detoxification process. And when you are traveling abroad, keep in mind that you need to be aware of what is in your environment. Be aware of the fact that you are not acclimated necessarily to the environments that you are traveling through. So, for instance, if you're going through Mexico, I strongly suggest that you drink bottled water and that you limit the amount of fresh fruits and vegetables that you're eating that have been washed in the native water, because your microbiota is not accustomed to that environment. And it may take a little while to acclimate, to start to introduce those new guys into your environment, and they start to get along with your people and things of that nature. So keep that in mind as you're traveling. When you are constantly tired, that is another indication that it may be that you need to consider doing a cleanse. Not only, like I said, of cleansing the digestive tract, but also it may be a cleanse of looking at your hormonal system and looking at your liver pathways, looking at your kidneys in terms of how they're filtering your blood, looking at your blood glucose balance, right? So all of these things come to play. And then, of course, you've got the mental, emotional, spiritual parts of it also. So, question for you guys. I said I was not gonna have any more questions, but hey, I'm gonna ask another question. How frequent do you go to the bathroom? How frequent do you answer nature's calls? Is it a couple times a day, once a day, a couple times a week? Give me some feedback, you guys. How often are you answering nature's call? Don't be shy. I love talking about poop. Maybe it's because one of the hats that I wear is that I'm a colon hydrotherapist. So I could talk about poop all day long. Okay, we got once a day. We've got a couple times a day. Anyone else? Come on down. Literally. Make that stuff come on down. 1 to 2 times a day. Okay. So my general rule to people, or guideline rather, is that you should be going to the bathroom the same amount of times that you eat. So if you are having 3 major meals in a day, you should be going to the restroom 3 times a day. If you're only having 1 meal a day, then, it makes sense that you would be going to the restroom once a day. And when we're going to the restroom, what kind of sensation do you have afterwards? You have like, whoo, oh yeah, that's empty. Now I feel like I feel so much lighter. Or do you feel like, there's still stuff backed up in there, but that's all that's coming out now. So we'll just have to live. Okay. So do you get that clean, breezy feel, or do you still feel heavy? Give me some feedback. That clean, breezy, I could fly like a birdie, or still got some stuff there. Most of the time, breezy. Okay, good. Have that empty feel. You feel like, woo, okay, I can go on the scale now. I lost a couple of pounds. All righty. Okay, good, good, good. Like I said, I love to go. Oh man. When I go, it's like, woo, how do I spell relief? Oh yes, bathroom. I can it just feels so good. That's it. Oh yes, I hear you guys. Yeah, it feels good to let go of that stuff. Oh my Lord. Oh, I tell you. So like I said, we want to make sure that all of the pathways are open, not only the gut, the digestive pathways, but also the skin. This is where a lot of people start to release the toxins. When we do a cleanse, I remember this one woman, she's like, oh my God, Michelle, I'm breaking out all of it. And it was a younger woman. So I have to be more compassionate because I mean, as you get older, well, some of us, as we get older, we're not as vain, but this young woman, she was like in her 20s, of course, the time when you're trying to date guys and all that kind of stuff. She's like, oh my God, what are you doing to me? I'm breaking out. I've got all of this acne all over the place. And she was freaking out because all of her skin was starting to erupt with zits and things of that nature. And she called me up when she was telling me this. And I was like, yes. And she's like, yes, 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 I look horrible. I was like, well, put it this way. Would you rather have the stuff popping out and oozing out of you, or do you want to keep that stuff inside? And she's like, I guess so. So yes, your skin is the largest organ in your body. So as you start to detoxify and cleanse, you may see some of that stuff coming out through your skin. That is another thing that gives you some indication that you may need to do a cleanse. If you find that your skin is starting to erupt and things of that nature, that is telling you that one of your detoxification elements is backed up or overwhelmed. And so if it's not able to come out of the gut effectively, your body's like, look, I've got to get rid of this shit. So it's like by any means necessary. and that's what it's going to do. Or the breath. Do you realize that we release several pounds of waste matter through our breath every single day? In fact, you release more waste from your breath than you do from your butt. Did you know that? Isn't that something?
That's why I like wearing a mask. So I keep it all in.
Keep it all in. Yes, of course.
Or recycle it. Just bring it back through
Recycle
again.
it. Well, we just talked about getting those trash bags out of the house and taking out to the dump and not taking it back into the house. So we want to make sure that all of those pathways are open. So as we said, we have the eliminatory channels, such as the digestive tract, eliminating through the rectum, obviously. We have our urine, a lot of ways in which the body's releasing your urine. So what is the color of your urine? Okay, in the chat, tell me, on average, what's the color of your urine? Come on, don't be shy. Tell me, tell me,
I
tell
can't
me.
type that fast.
Okay, yeller.
Light yeller. Light yeller.
Okay, so let's talk about some urine. Let's talk about some pee. Okay, Now you want to make sure that it is not too clear. If it is too clear, then that means that you are drinking too much water. And we want to make sure that you have proper electrolyte balances, right? Because if you don't, then that's going to create other problems. But then now we have like your straw amber, that's good. If it's too dark, then that's telling you that you're not getting enough water. And then if it's like this bright yellow, then that means that you're releasing all of those B vitamins. You're probably taking synthetic B vitamins or some other medication. You know, if it is like a pink or a red, ooh, not good. You know, you may have blood in your urine. So in any case, we want to make sure that the kidney is functioning properly, that you're able to release toxins through your urine, you're able to release toxins through your poop, you're able to release the toxin through your sweat, through any kind of acne, whatever it is that is getting out there, and you're releasing the toxicity through your brains. That's the physical stuff. And then, as I said to you before, it's not just about the physical, right? So let's talk about the nit grits about what a real holistic cleanse is. The common misperception about a cleanse is that it's just physical. You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to do a colon cleanse. I'm going to do a liver cleanse. I'm going to do a kidney cleanse, whatever it is. And people think that it's, oh, you know, you're going to get like the little kit and boom, you're done. And that it's, oh, it's just for this specific amount of time and it's a means to an end. I want to challenge you with that. I want you to start to consider that a cleanse is mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. And then when it comes, if you're going to integrate products, you need to do it in a customized way. No two people should have the same cleanse. Every one of us is nuanced. Every single one of us is nuanced. And you want to start to be able to look at what is it that I want to do in my cleanse? What am I trying to accomplish in my cleanse? Because that is going to help you to discern what are the different products that you're going to use. And cleansing is actually an ongoing process. Now, it will fluctuate in terms of its themes and intensities. So, for instance, this is the spring. So you will hear a lot of people say this is the time when they do a liver cleanse because this is the organ that is associated with the transition from the winter into the spring months. But that doesn't mean that that's the only time you're cleansing. I would like to encourage you to consider the fact that you should always be cleansing 24/7. Your body is cleansing, just to a different degree, to a different level of intensity. Now, when you go on a specific period of time when you are focusing on cleansing, that means that maybe 90% of your effort is focused on cleansing, and the other 10% of your effort is focusing on your daily day kind of stuff. But you're always cleansing. And the question becomes, how can you facilitate the cleansing? Are you breathing? Are you drinking water? Are you moving? Are you looking at the thoughts that are coming through and deciding to release certain thoughts? Are you recognizing that you're holding on to your anger and you're breathing into that area that it's residing in to release it? And realize that a cleanse is actually the beginning of your transformation. It is not the end, because a cleanse will help you to open up the pathways for you to move to the next level of your health. So remember, we said that we want to support the natural elimination processes. And we want to look at, how does a cleanse work? How does a detoxification process work? It works by supporting the natural processes of the body, resting the organs. You cannot cleanse and still do a 95-hour week. Like some people are trying to be supermen and women, right? That is not the time to do a concerted cleanse. You need to select a period of time where you're going to honor that part of your healing journey. The other part of detoxification is stimulating the various organs, like the liver and the kidneys, to be able to be more effective at their job. Also, to help the promotion of the elimination through your skin with things like a sauna, skin brushing, massage, even, and to help to also facilitate and promote the release of the kidneys and the intestines. You're also going to want to support the circulation in the body, movement, because remember, movement is the only way that you're going to move the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is the fluid that surrounds all of the various cells in the body. And if you want those cells to dump out their trash and to have that trash move away from the cells, you've got to move. You cannot just lay in the bed and say, oh, I'm cleansing, I can't do anything. Now, I'm not saying you go out there and run a marathon. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, do some yoga, do some stretching, sit in the sun, go for a walk, allow the body to move. This is a really good time to save up your ducats and get a good massage. Somebody who
I
knows how to
recommend the
move.
exact same thing when you're fasting
Well,
because
that's what we're talking about.
yeah, but movement to clean the bucket of calories, not just
Well,
toxins.
exactly. So you want to get that movement going, right? And something that many, many people do not think about is you've got to fuel the body with the nutrients that it needs to clean house. Think about it. Do you clean your house? Do you do spring cleaning on your house when you're tired, when you have no energy, when you have no resources, you have no cleaning products? No, you wouldn't do that. You wait till you're
Delay until summer. Or maybe the fall.
perhaps. But the other thing is too, what I keep telling people is that, when I started my journey with cleanses back when I was 17, my body was vibrant and things were different then. It is much different to lead a person through a cleanse now, 35 years later, than it was 35 years ago. 35 years ago, when I was working with people, or should I say 25 years ago, when I started working with people in terms of taking other people through the cleansing journey, I could do a lot of things. I could start with somebody on day one and do a cleanse. But you can't do that anymore because most of the people I have found, and Dr. Lewis can tell me what his experience is, but most people are too depleted energetically to be able to do a cleanse effectively. So you want to make sure that you have provided your body with the resources that it needs to cleanse effectively. Otherwise, you're going to end up having a yucky experience. You definitely don't want to go into fasting until you have made sure that there are certain resources in the bank that are going to take you through the fast without you feeling completely wiped out and cursing at us. So those are some things to consider. Now,
You might be interested to know that a blog I wrote today, it's going out tomorrow, is on water intake, sodium levels, and longevity.
ah, awesome. Fantastic.
Of
So
course,
now the
I have my usual twist where I try to catch people off guard.
awesome.
I'll give you guys a hint. I explain an underappreciated reason why supplements improve our health.
Okay, so we're gonna have to look out for that blog, or you're gonna give us a
No,
little.
you gotta wait till it comes out. I gave you everything you need to know now to be curious.
Oh, you got those cliffhangers. Don't you guys hate cliffhangers?
But see, water is the most important thing. And then this morning, while I was while I was cleansing my tight tendons, I was listening to a Roger Schwelt medcram on plastics. And
Hmm.
even if it's really something everybody should watch, even the so-called good plastics
They're not good.
elude tons and tons and tons of microscopic plastic particles. So, you got to get rid of your plastic cutting board. You got to get rid of your all plastic containers. I don't care what they are,
Yeah.
you know. And then there's a misnomer about aluminum. Aluminum is very toxic in its ionic form, but aluminum oxide, which you have aluminum casement windows or whatever, there's just a monolayer of oxide on that, and that is
Mhm.
one of the most inert substances on the planet. So cooking with aluminum or having an aluminum container, stainless steel is probably better, but aluminum is like Carla said, facts, Dr. M, there is no one size that fits all. There's no one aluminum. There's so many different forms of aluminum.
Yeah.
And so like we can demonize the overarching element, but many of its subforms are perfectly safe.
Hmm.
You
So
know,
now
it's
the question becomes, who needs a holistic cleanse? And I believe that everyone needs a cleanse, especially those of us who are ready to make a dramatic change in your life. Okay. And
how do you feel about enemas as a regular routine for cleansing?
I do not do them regularly. You know,
Likewise.
as I said, one of my hats is that I'm a colon hydrotherapist, but
Right.
I
Duh.
have, but I have learned to use it very sparingly. I use it usually with people who have major, major issues. And I figured that it's easier to just clean everything out and just start the rebuilding process all over. But it's more of a part of a much more expansive process as opposed to a cure-all. A lot of people who are doing colon hydrotherapy sessions, they're like, oh, I'm trying to fit into my bathing suit for summer, and I don't do colon hydrotherapy sessions unless somebody's doing a much more comprehensive program with me where they understand that this is one small little piece of the puzzle and we've got to do a lot of things before, during, and after that session. Now, in terms of enemas, and there are all kinds of different enemas, from coffee enemas to oh lordy, you can just go crazy with different types of enemas, different herbs and things of that nature, depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So with enemas, again, the caveat is to not look at it as the cure-all, but rather to be part of a comprehensive process. And be very careful with enemas like a coffee enema, because you can wake up a sleeping bear. And if you haven't prepared for that, it can be interesting. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. So the other part of doing a cleanse is that you need to have the perspective of being willing to challenge your old beliefs and to release yourself from old patterns of thinking. Because if you're doing a cleanse, a very effective cleanse, especially a liver cleanse, liver gallbladder cleanse, a lot of different emotions are going to come up. And that is going to be the point where you're going to have to ask yourself, am I ready to let go? Remember, we talked about those bags. So those bags are not just physical bags of stuff. It can be more ethereal bags of stuff. Are you willing to let go of a false idea of who you are? Are you willing to let go of different ways that you have perceived the world? Are you willing to let go of the different quote unquote trauma that you may have gone into? One of the weird things that I came to realize as I've been working with people over the past 25 years is that some people enjoy the persona of being a sick person, and they don't
Exactly.
want to let go of that identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're getting a payoff by being a sick person.
I'm a sick female. I'm just kidding.
So,
There's always one in the crowd.
so if you're talking about doing a holistic cleanse, question becomes, are you ready to let go of the shit? Stuff hindering eye transformations. Are you willing? Are you ready to let go? Are you ready to embrace a new you, a new life? Right? So there are lots of different symptoms, like we said, that can tell you if you are somebody who needs to really consider a cleanse. We talked about fatigue, we talked about sluggish elimination, we talked about skin eruptions, we talked about food sensitivities, we talked about low-grade infections, right, Dr. Lewis?
Mm-hmm.
That's his favorite topic, stealth infections. We talked about puffy eyes. We talked about bloating, menstrual problems, mental confusion. All of these are symptoms that are the handwriting on the wall. And what a lot of people will say that have done cleanses is that when you go through a truly, truly impactful cleanse, when you go through a holistic cleanse, you come out feeling lighter. Your skin is brighter. You lose a lot of physical weight. You start to improve your immune function. You start to get rid of the cravings. A lot of times you'll find relief from food sensitivities and food intolerances. You'll have a clarity of mind and a sense of well-being. You'll be able to eliminate excess weight and feel more energy. So now, the time for a cleanse, as I said, some of the major times of life is when you're considering a job or career change, when you are shifting in your relationship, or maybe you want to improve your relationship. So a cleanse, a lot of times what I have done in the past when I was going through particular challenging times with my former husband, we would do a cleanse together because it's amazing when you do a cleanse together. Number one, you start to bond. And number two, you start to let go of the stuff that holds back the relationship. Another time to do it is when you're dealing with a certain health issue and other major life-changing situations. Now, you don't need to have stuff going on. I encourage you to consider cleansing on a regular basis. Remember the first question that we asked, about your experience in cleansing. So for me, I cleanse on a regular basis 4 times a year with the changing of the seasons. So we
Okay.
cleanse on the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the fall equinox, and the winter solstice. When the weather is changing, that is nature telling you it's time to shift gears. It's time to shift gears. It's time to let go of the old and welcome and get ready for a new way of doing things. All right. So now, are you ready? Well, here are some things to consider when you're getting ready. Okay. You want to start by identifying your intention. Why do you want to cleanse? What is it that you want to focus on in a cleanse? That will determine the entire scope of your cleanse. There are times when you may say, you know what? I really want to have more insight into the direction for my life. So that will cause you to design your cleanse in a certain way. Or you may say, you know what? I'm really dealing with some major hormonal issues. That's going to create a different type of cleanse. Or you may say, you know what? Man, I just feel bloated all the time. That's going to create a different kind of cleanse. So, what is your intention? What are you seeking to accomplish in your cleanse? And remember to prepare. A cleanse is not something that you just wake up and like, okay, we're going to do it. Nah. If you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. You want to set yourself up for success. You want to make sure that you have all of the different supplies that you need to get. You want to make sure that you tell your boss that you're not going to work a 90-hour week. You're going to take some time off for yourself sometime, right? Or you may say, you know what, maybe I need to send the kid to go stay with grandma or grandpa, you know? Give yourself a little breathing room. You may decide that you want to take some time off from work, actually leave work and not just decrease your hours. You may have to go and make sure you have enough water bottles. or make sure you have your water filter, even more preferable. Make sure if you're going to do certain things, you have your supplements all lined up. You have your fruits and your vegetables if that's what you're going to do. Make sure you have your journal. Make sure you have your spiritual texts, whether it be your Bible, your Quran, or whatever it is. Make sure you have something that is uplifting, some music. Have all of the things that you can think of that's going to help you to go through the rough spots. Because when you really do a serious cleanse, stuff comes up. And you want to be
Wow.
like, I knew something was going to come up. I'm ready for that.
I'm
And
excited.
right? You're excited, right?
Yeah. I was listening to the High Wire, and many states are looking to really tighten down on some of these social media apps and some of these like Snapchat and stuff because it's affecting the mental health and esteem and of these kids. And like I think you obviously addressed this, but it's not just about getting rid of toxins, it's about getting toxic energy out of the system too. And I'm sure you talked about that before,
Yep.
but that's why I want to work with you because that toxic energy it collects in vibrational energy and waves that are all out of sync in the brain that mess everything up.
It is. And that's exactly where we started actually, because we talked about
Yeah.
I was talking with Tommy and we were talking
Yeah.
about, taking a break from the news. And we were talking about sometimes taking a break from certain people that are toxic because all they do is just loop in certain mindsets.
Carla,
So
Carla brought something up. I'll tell a story. I interrupted you. I shouldn't do that, but I did anyway. But I apologize. I'm toxic.
go for it. Go for it.
But
My
she
fault.
says, yes, these children need to get outside. And so
Hmm.
I live in an area where there's a big like play area behind my house, sand and water and whatnot. And the kids, I let them come down my driveway on their four-wheelers and go out and we live in a neighborhood about a mile in a circle, and some lady wrote about, oh, these kids, blah, 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 this. So I wrote back to her and I said, I'm a hell of a lot happier that they're out on even something, if it's not a lot of exercise, but they're out getting fresh air and they're moving and all that. And I said, if you really don't want to be around kids, go to the villages. It's like, and then she wrote back all apologetic, and everybody agreed with me. They go around a little circle, and there's no one in the circle on a four-wheeler, and some old curmudgeon told the kids, don't ride around, you don't have a license. I told them next time they say that to you, come find me or your dad or both of us, and we'll go put the old curmudgeon in your place because we got to do anything we can to get these kids outside.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anything to get them off the screen. So if it's a four-wheeler, I'm not crazy about that, but it's a whole lot better than a four-wheeler being driven on a video screen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, as you were saying, one of your favorite topics is hydration. So, one of the things I suggest, and I was talking with Tommy before we started, he was drinking his tea, and I was like, oh man, and I went and got my tea. And my favorite way to start off the morning is with a twist of lemon, or you can start off with a little bit of apple cider vinegar in some water, preferably warm water, because the warm water will get everything moving. You'll start to flush things out by getting everything moving.
A real
If you
good
want to be
idea. It's
really
a real good.
dicey, if you want to be really dicey, put in like a little sprig of cayenne pepper to get you rocking and rolling in another
Love it.
way, getting that stimulation going on. But phenomenal way to start your morning and also to continue the hydration throughout the day
So what I
because
what I
the lemon.
do what I do because I'm a cheapskate,
Mhm,
I have a soda stream system. And
mhm.
I don't go to Target to get refilled. I go buy a block of dry ice and break it up and put it in my little cylinder to refill it. But what I do is I put in a salt mixture, which will be published tomorrow, but I already have it. And when you make a lot of people have an addiction to the bubbly, and the carbon dioxide is really no big problem from what I can tell. But you put a little, like I have a teaspoon or more of salt per gallon of water, and you put that in and you carbonate it. And then what I do is I freeze my bottle with a little water at the bottom the night before, and I put ground up ginger in that. If you put the
Mm,
ginger in when you're trying to carbonate it, it explodes. But I trap it inside the ice, and then it doesn't have the chance to do that. So I have my ginger water with sodium, potassium, and magnesium salts in it, and that's kind of my routine. I calculated it's 4 cents a bottle.
awesome.
I'm a
And
cheap.
another thing that you guys can look on, if you go into our YouTube channel, you'll see a recipe for Good Girl Moonshine, my favorite drink, especially during the summer.
Good
Uh,
girl moonshine. Do
yeah,
tell.
Good Girl Moonshine. Well, it's a combination of ginger and the lemon and apple cider vinegar, and if you wish, a little sweetener. And it tastes delicious. Yum, yum, yum. And I will put in like a drop of cinnamon essential oil. And it is, oh man, I can't get enough of it. I just love, love, love that. And the beauty of it is that the lemon is going to help you to alkalize the body. It's also going to help to promote immune function and help with the liver detoxification pathways and promote your healthier skin. So lemon is a fantastic thing to add to your water in the detoxification process, but also just on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Another thing that you can use in cleansing and detoxification is smoothies and juices. You can do a green smoothie detox with things like spinach and kale and celery, and put in a little bit of green apple. Um, I like to also do a cleansing drink, which is a combination of aloe vera juice and organic apple juice. So I do that 1-to-1, and that's going to help with not only stimulating the cleansing of the colon with the pectin, but also the soothing of the lining of the colon with the aloe vera. So these are just some things that you can use, and just lots and lots of different options. And then to aid your detox, remember you want to eat plenty of fiber, depending on which stage of the detox that you're in or what type of detoxification program you're doing, because your detox program can range from, okay, Michelle, I'm just getting rid of processed food. Okay. For some people, that is a major step. So for some people, that is their detox programs. And then it can go to all the way to the other end in terms of fasting. And if you're interested in doing fasting, then that takes a lot of preparation, so you don't want to jump from A to Z in less than 60 seconds. Okay. They're steps. And I generally don't suggest that people do a fast if it's the first time they've done a cleanse, and do a fast with someone. I really, really suggest that the first couple of times that you do a fast, that you do it under the guidance of someone, because lots of things can come up during a fast, and you want to be able to have someone there as your support mechanism to give you feedback on what things need to be done to properly support what's coming up. In any case, you want to eat lots of fiber if you're going through certain types of fasts, including things like brown rice, fruits and vegetables, beets, radishes, artichokes, cabbage, broccoli, spirulina, chlorella, seaweed. All of these are phenomenal at detoxifying, especially your spirulina, your chlorella, cilantro, and things of that nature. You also want to protect the liver, right? By taking certain herbs like dandelion, burdock, milk thistle, and drinking green tea. Also, you want to include things like vitamin C, and that helps your body to produce glutathione, a liver compound that helps your body to detoxify toxins. You want to make sure that you're drinking significant amount of water. I tell people that you want to look at least half of your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 120 pounds, then you want to be consuming 60 ounces of nice clean water. And to the point that Dr. Lewis was saying, think about your container. I suggest that people use glass or stainless steel when you're talking about your water.
I agree.
Uh, the other thing to consider is, how do you transition after your cleanse or your detoxification, right? It's not like, oh, I've had people that do this. They do this phenomenal cleanse, and then right after the cleanse, they go to Mickey D's. It's like, are you trying to kill yourself? Okay. First of all, when you're coming off, I know it's like, oh, I haven't eaten this in so long. Yeah, I'm going to treat myself. I'm like, no, that's like trying to kill yourself because your body is going to have this significant reaction if you do. That's going to be like, are you trying to kill me? And you are going to know right away that your body was not happy with that choice. But beyond that extreme, what I tell people is as you are transitioning from a cleanse, depending on how many steps down you went, maybe you went down as far as a fast, then you want to step back up with the same time frame. So if it took you about 2 weeks to get to the point of fasting, then you want to gradually build back up to quote unquote your normal lifestyle. And as you start to slowly reintroduce certain foods back into your palate, what you want to do is to pay attention to how your body responds. Do you feel a little itchy? Do you feel a little bit more sluggish? Do you feel a little bloating? Pay attention as you reintroduce foods. And I encourage people to reintroduce one food a day or one food type a day so that you can really notice whether or not your body, mind, heart, or spirit is having a reaction. Sometimes it may not be a physical reaction. Sometimes it just may be like, oh man, I started feeling angry all of a sudden once again. Check that food out that you just added. Okay. Now, we want to make sure, as we said, to get rid of obvious things. That's the first way of doing a cleanse, right? To just get rid of the refined stuff. And like I said, for those of you, if you're just beginning or if you're dealing with children, like I said, the first people I started to teach cleansing to were my kids, captive audience, right? And I know people like, oh, you can't do cleansing with kids. Oh, yes, you can. It's about what type of cleanse. So with a kid, you want to say, you know what? We're taking away all of the processed foods, right? And step two, we're now going to increase the amount of nice salads and fruits in our diet. And so my kids were all doing cleanses long before they left my house. We were doing a cleanse at least once a year. And then we also had things like the castor oil that was part of their cleanse. Because, yes, my family's from the West Indies. So we do that castor oil thing. Yeah, that's one of those. Whoo, Lordy, that's a tough
I
one.
love it.
You would love it. You would love it. Okay.
Teaspoon a day and then a bunch on the skin.
So keep in mind, the reason why we're doing this is to release toxins. So if you are someone who is consuming animal products, you want to make sure that you're consuming clean animal products, you know? So look at getting things that do not have the hormones, do not have the antibiotics, do not have exposure to pesticides and things of that nature. Even when you look at something like chicken, be aware that there's a difference between eating a chicken or the eggs of a chicken that is they may say that the chicken is free range, but they may be giving the chicken a lot of feed. So I notice even with my neighbors,
And
they'll say,
hormone.
oh yeah, we have free range chicken, and technically they do have free range chicken because legally I think you only have to let them out for like an hour or something like that to call them quote unquote free range. But the majority of times they're feeding their chicken lots of feed, lots of grain feed. And so you have to ask yourself, number one, what's the quality of that feed? And number two, the feed or the grain feed is going to create a much different chicken and a much different egg than a chicken that is eating the bugs and stuff out there in the yard. So like my chickens, that's all they eat. They go out there and they eat the bugs and stuff and things of that nature. And their eggs, the yolk is such a deep, dark yellow. It is just beautiful, and you can taste the difference between that and a chicken that is eating the feed. Even in terms of the meat, the quality of the meat is different. A chicken that is out there running actual free range like my chicken do, they are tough as all get up. I mean, I got to put them bad boys in the pressure cooker if I decide to kill them. Very different from the chickens that are eating the grains. that are, processed and that kind of stuff. So just something to think about. There's no point. I mean, there's no point, but why compromise the quality of your outcomes in doing a cleanse if you're just going to keep on putting these toxins back into your body? So remember, more of the good stuff, greens, fruits, water, vitamins, legumes, nuts, seeds, herbal teas, green tea especially, dandelion tea, chicory tea. These are phenomenal teas that help the detoxification pathways in the liver. So keep in mind, the liver is a powerhouse when it comes to detoxification. There are different phases of detoxification. We're not going to get into all of that. But the green stuff is going to help your liver to detoxify more efficiently. And one of the things that many people don't even think about is your major secret powerhouse for detoxification is actually your breath. As you go through a cleanse and every day of your life, to take time to really focus on your breath, inhaling deeply and exhaling completely. When you exhale, to really feel the muscles in your abdomen, contract as you're pushing that air out of your body. To focus primarily, first and foremost, with just a 4-4 breath, breathing in slowly for 4 counts and out slowly for 4 counts. And then after that, you kind of expand. And one of the things that we do when we do cleansing programs with people is that we teach you several different breathing techniques that help with the detoxification pathways. So things like Nirmana Nadi Shuddhi, which is alternate nostril breathing and things of that nature. So just something to keep in mind. And then think about doing your cleansing. So remember I said that there's no one size fits all. This is one kit that I use with beginners who have like never done a cleanse before. And so we just get some of the basics in. And you'll notice that in this particular pack, we have enzymes. Very, very important that you include enzymes when you're doing a cleanse to help your body to break down whatever it is that's part of your cleansing program. Another thing to make sure that you include are probiotics. You want to make sure that you're giving support to the gut, because remember, those little bacteria also help your body to break down foods effectively. And then there are things that, such as xenocrine, which is a formulation that helps with the liver detoxification pathways. And then you want to make sure that you have antioxidants. You want to make sure that you have polyphenols. You want to make sure that you have your basic minerals and vitamins, So this is a kit that I like to use, especially with people who are first starting out. Very simple to do and, kind of touches all the bases. Now, last but not least, I'd love to give you guys an overview of what I consider to be a holistic cleanse. And in the holistic cleansing process, we go through 4 weeks of cleansing. In the first week, we're focusing on the mental aspects, and we do a spiritual cleanse. We go through affirmations. In the second week, we focus on an emotional cleanse. And we also focus on learning different breathing techniques and really having a deeper understanding and appreciation for meditation. Oh, that's the other thing. Have your journal. That is one of the ways that you cleanse and detoxify, and you release things through your writing, through your journaling, and prayer. I tell people when I work with them, every single night, you need to incorporate a life of prayer, asking God to reveal to you the ways in which you need to release and let go. And sometimes the answer will be, you know what, Michelle, you need to let go of asparagus. And you may have no idea of why you need to let go of asparagus, but it's not important for you to know all the nuances. But when you let go of that asparagus, something just clicks. And yeah, you can learn all the fancy reasons as to why asparagus just wasn't a right fit for you. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? Or does it matter that you listened to your intuition and you reaped the benefits? And then the third week is where we pull everything together, body, mind, heart, spirit. And that's when we do the intensive physical stuff. So that's going to vary. Some people are just going to do it in terms of juicing. Some people are going to do it in terms of raw food. Some people are going to do it in terms of fasting, combination, all kinds of different things. And then week 4 is when you start transitioning, start reintroducing things, you know. So this gives you an overview. And what I always tell people is one of the things to do before you do a cleanse, just for the fun of it, is to get yourself assessed. And I know we have Dr. Lewis on here, and he has a phenomenal assessment survey that people can engage with. And then you can do a foundational blood chemistry panel, because it is always fun to see where you were and to see things shift over the course of just a month. And when you retest at the end, and you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, that is a game changer, game changer. So now we are opening it up to the Q&A. Any questions, any thoughts, anything?
You do sauna.
Oh yeah, I have my sauna is right here behind my screen. I do a sauna a couple of times a week.
Okay. How about PEMF?
I have not done that. I have
Okay.
not done that.
I mean, I have a weak one, and I don't see much benefit from it, but higher powered ones, I mean, they're not really cleansings,
Mm.
but you actually are
Like
cleansing,
sport.
because one of the biggest problems we have is oxidation, and
Mm-hmm.
PEMF kind of cleanses you of oxidation. So in a lot of ways, we can look at healing as cleansing right up and down the board.
Exactly. It's just about, the intensity of the cleansing process. So are you going to be hyper focused on the cleansing aspect or on digestion? So you're always cleansing. 24/7 you're always cleansing. But it's
Right.
about how much resource and how much intentional focus are you directing towards that particular process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about GMOs like the one you're holding?
Oh, this is my baby.
It's a GMO, Michelle.
Sophie's gonna
She
bark
is
at
my
you, Dr.
baby.
Lewis.
I'm gonna get my real dog now. I had to give my real dog away because
I,
it chewed up a neighbor. Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's funny because I have a mat at the front door with her picture, and it says, "You may think that I'm a dog, but I'm the baby in this family." And it
That's
goes through
right.
different things like, "Look,
Exactly.
I'm the one who
Exactly.
rules this family.
You
You're
see,
just a
you
visitor."
see, I will tell you, my dog, I've had dogs that I've been okay with. This one just for some reason bonded to me. But my dog is my biggest detox because she helps me emotionally detox. When everybody else is rah, rah, rah and on you, she comes over, the tail's wagging, you give her a little treat. I take her, I take her out. Like tonight, I took her to Rural King, my bike shop, and a restaurant. No leash, nothing. And people just come, and it creates, see, because in the Japanese community, the Japanese culture, rather, community is one of the most powerful things that
Exactly.
extends longevity, and you're purging
Yeah.
demons out of your body. So like my dog now is, even Dr. Carter will tell you, he says take her to every conference because she's a networking master.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
everybody, because not a
Absolutely.
lot of people have dogs off leash that are obedient. And I'm not claiming
Yeah.
any particular skill, just so you guys know, because my other dogs were completely unruly, hopeless, disobedient. This one just like bonded to me. So I take her everywhere, and it's been the greatest, the
But
greatest
for
thing.
this one, she goes with me everywhere also, and she
Yeah.
is actually. I mean, she's a service dog, and people like, oh, she's not a service dog. But I'm like, no, she is. I say she's my parasympathetic modulator because I'm telling you, it's like she can sense when I'm off, and she'll also sense, okay, mom, it's time for you to go to bed. So there's a certain time, if all the lights have not gone off, she gets upset and she starts
Dr.
barking.
Michelle, I'll tell you something very similar. Where I'm sitting right now, her little couch is over there. And around 4 o'clock every day, all of a sudden I feel a wet nose on my back of my hand.